match for a good blast here, true side.
Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
And welcome to a very special episode.
A very special episode of Star Wars.
Yes, we are fresh off of going to Star Wars Celebration.
Fresh off the
Not
boat.
but 3 days ago.
Not but a wee 3 days.
Yes. And
wee 3
My heart
days.
is still heavy and full, and everything hurts. My body hurts. We were linesmen for 3 days. We subsisted on lines and waiting and standing,
Doing everything but experiencing
crushing
Star
our
Wars.
bodies against other people in a non-sexual manner. It was
The worst kind.
it was the worst kind of body crushing. Yeah. Star Wars Celebration was amazing
It was amazing.
and
So
rough.
many- Rough?
As many complaints as there were online about the...
Okay, so let's talk about this because
Right into it.
this is
Special celebration episode. Celebration recap.
as soon as I got home, I felt like I wanted to go back.
Yes.
But that was because I was forgetting about all of the
pain.
terrible, awful things
The pain and anguish.
that not just waiting in line because fine.
We live here. We go to Disney. I think maybe we're used to it.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like there were people there who were more used to it than I was. That were dealing with it more. I don't know.
Well, a lot of them were
Dealing
probably
with it
people that
better.
waited overnight and were just not mentally there
Just crazy
anymore.
people?
They were feral people.
There was a man sleeping on top of a pizza box.
Yes, there was. He had a pizza box pillow.
Yeah, so there were those kind of people.
Maybe
But-
that's just his... That's the way he naps.
Yeah, I was forgetting about all of the terrible mismanagement that was happening. Everybody that went knows.
Everyone
What this
complained.
was.
There was a lot of complaining online about the handling of the conference by Reed Pop.
Well, was it Orange County Convention Center or was it
It was
Repop?
probably a little bit of both. But
Because it seemed like
all in all, for a giant convention with that many people, it was not as bad. I would say it was not as bad as people were making it out to be.
maybe.
People, I think, were more complaining that they couldn't get into panels because there were so many people, and they were blaming that on the management. Where if
Really?
you've got
That was what
if you've
people-
got like 4,000 people sleeping over, and you want to get into the live panel, which only seats like 3,000 people, there's a
I'm
chance
sorry, I don't have
there's a-
4,000 people sleeping over as often as you do.
Well, you should come to my parties. I mean, so the people were complaining like, I came over and slept over, I was here since 5 p.m. yesterday and I slept over and I didn't get into the live panel.
Well,
Yeah, because you
okay.
were one of 4,000 people and only 3,000 are getting
Okay.
into that main room.
But two things here. It seemed like no one had any idea what was happening or why it should happen or when it should happen.
Yes.
Orange County Convention staff the Reed Pop staff seemed to have a little better of an idea. But just because they were the organizers.
Some of them.
Yeah,
yes.
some of them.
Well,
Exactly.
there were the black shirts who were staff and the orange shirts who were crew. The crew had like nothing to do with Reed Pop other than just being there to help.
But there were
The
more of
black
the
shirts
crew
said-
at
yeah.
stations where people were going to ask questions. So people were
Yes.
asking them questions and they had no answers.
Yes.
That was frustrating. Second
So,
thing
yeah.
was on Friday when we got there, the overnight line or the front of the line was the overnighters. The back of it was the people
Yeah.
showing up early in the morning. We got there at 5:30 in the morning. That line had wrapped all the way around to us, and we were on the back side of the building at an alternate entrance.
Yes, because they opened extra entrances
So-
on the second day because of how bad Thursday was.
Right. Thursday was apparently a total
But
crap
people
show.
still lined up in the same old line, which wrapped around to the beginning of the new line, which we then were in line in front of people that
So
had pillows and sleeping bags.
You're talking, I don't know, several thousand people, maybe 1,000 people in that line,
Yeah.
the main one, and like maybe 100, 200 in ours. We got through security in, I don't know, once the line started moving, probably in 30 minutes, something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
wasn't bad at all.
Got in front. I mean, you remember walking around that corner, right?
Yeah.
Thousands of people. I mean,
Still lined up.
the whole lobby packed from wall to wall of people going through the security gates.
And we were already
still
through
lined
security.
up, and we were already through going
Going past people who had sleeping bags and pillows.
Yeah.
Things like that.
going to get our wristbands. That kind of stuff. Like why is
Why
that
not let all of them in first and then open the rest of the doors?
Why not turn people away from the front line when it gets to a certain point and bring him back to
I mean,
another
that's
one.
the thing is the doors lock at midnight. So the people that slept over, they were already locked
inside.
in at midnight.
That's true. They were already
So
inside.
then they open the doors at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That main door they open at 5 a.m. The others they open at 6.
Were those people
Why
sleeping
not leave the doors locked until that line is fully through because they slept overnight? Let all of them through because they deserved it for staying there, and then open all the doors so everyone else can get in and see what happens.
Were those people already through security at that point, or
No. So they slept inside in the hall.
in the lobby?
And in that big line area, I think they.
That was after security though. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe it was after security. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. When did all those people show up?
So everyone that slept overnight, I think, should have had the chance to get in and do everything and get in line before the doors were then open to the people who got there
and get all their wristbands and all
Yes.
that junk. Yeah, sure.
But they didn't.
Right.
So I mean, if they did, we probably wouldn't have been in a room for The Last Jedi. So
right.
Oh well.
I'm not complaining for our sake. We got what we wanted.
Yeah. It sucks for those people that slept overnight. Even though you slept overnight does not guarantee you a place in the live panel because there's so many of you.
Which is kind of
crazy.
Yeah.
I think maybe they've outgrown. I think it's outgrown the convention center.
Probably that side of it. Yeah, the west side.
And the problem is
and that's where
one of the streaming rooms, the celebration stage, is actually a larger room than the Galaxy stage. I think for video purposes and other media purposes, it's not conducive to the live streaming and to videoing and all of that because because it's just a straight theater with seats. There's not like a video spot for a camera crew.
What? Which one?
In the celebration stage. Whereas the Galaxy stage is a flat floor where
the celebration stage has like a balcony. It has
but it's all
aisles.
seats.
No, it has aisles and stuff. It's like a regular theater.
Yes, but not a place where you can put in a podium for I
thought they had a sound booth and stuff.
Well, yeah, but for the cameras to live stream and all of that, they might not have what they need in that room.
Maybe, yeah. I was trying to figure that out. The Galaxy stage, which was Valencia or something. I can't remember what they called it.
Whatever the name of the conference center room is. Yeah.
But all that production equipment they had in there, I don't know if they brought that with them or that was.
It may have outgrown
part of the
Orange County
room.
Convention Center at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just may not have been prepared for the amount of people this year because even Anaheim was before, right? Anaheim was before Force Awakens came out, right?
What was?
Anaheim Celebration was before.
Was it?
So Anaheim happened, and then there was Europe, and now there was Orlando. Last
Europe
year
was 2016.
So that would have happened
right?
after Force Awakens.
Europe was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless it's just built so much since then, and of course,
Anaheim was April 2015. Yeah. So, yeah, that was before.
So, obviously, it's a lot harder for people to travel to Europe. People aren't going to go there. Probably as many people from the U.S. aren't going to go just because of the difficulty to get there.
I wonder what the numbers were compared to us.
I wonder what because of the ease of access of Florida being in the United States and people in the U.S. getting to it, I wonder if they weren't prepared for the amount of numbers since The Force Awakens came out.
I don't know.
For the U.S.
Maybe.
And they just may not have been prepared for it. It was, I mean, you go to any place with, 10,000 people packed into one building and it's a rough time, but it's exciting too.
It's something to see.
It was fun.
Literally 10,000 people or more.
Yes.
In a room. That's pretty crazy.
It was a blast. So I figured for this recap, we'll just kind of go down through the days.
Each day.
Through day 1 through 4. Kind of recap some of the stuff that happened, some of the stuff that we're excited about and want to talk about. Starting with day 1 was the very first panel was the 40th anniversary panel, and I owe Michael $10.
I want to bet.
For once, George Lucas actually showed up.
I bet Tyler the episode before we went to Celebration that George Lucas would show up at this event.
Yep, and he was the first person out.
He was the first. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He was before Kathy. No, Kathy came out first, right?
It was George.
Are you sure? Who hosted that?
Or maybe they sent them away and then George came out after that. I
Who
think that's
hosted
what happened. Warwick.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought Kathy. Yeah. Anyway, George showed up.
So George was there.
That's the point.
I
was right. That's all I care about.
Looking really not interested in being there, to be honest. But I was really glad that he was there.
Can I say something about George real quick? So, watching like Mark Hamill's tribute panel to Carrie, watching his solo panel, watching some of the smaller ones like Pablo's Cantina one that we went to. We'll talk about that later, but there were all of these stories that I'm sure had to have been told before, but I was probably hearing them for the first time. All these stories about George that really, like, the guy could really, see into the future, so to speak. Like he really was thinking about a lot of stuff that people were not thinking about back then. And
yeah, I mean, the original trilogy was way before its time as far as technology goes and effects and things like that.
So yeah,
and that's even that was his point with the prequels too. Like the effects he did in the prequels were amazing and were beyond anything that was happening at that time.
Yeah,
and graphic effects and visual effects, it was a bit too much. But but what they were able to do was more than any other film was doing.
Right.
So George had this grand vision, and like he was doing things that others weren't, and
even
whether
down
we like
to,
it or not, you have to respect that.
Even down to things like casting. Mark was talking about how, or he might have even played a clip of George talking about Carrie in the tribute panel, but just how he had Carrie's personality, that strong woman character who, I don't know, everything Carrie was.
Yeah.
He had that personality in his mind before they went out and found Carrie for it. So he knew...
He knew that's the kind of person they
needed. He knew
needed.
this is the personality that would fit this character the best. Like, he wrote that character, and she just fit it so well. So, I don't know. Little stories like that, I don't know, it made me kind of almost respect George Lucas again.
Yeah, I mean, the problem not the problem, but the thing with George is he's never let go of all the hate from the prequels, I don't think.
Well, I mean, there's some legitimate...
obviously, I think there's still some...
concerns there. And,
I mean, he even said at one point when he was talking about critics, saying things about Star Wars, he's like, the problem, and, this isn't verbatim, but what he was saying, the problem is Star Wars was always meant for children. Yeah. Star Wars has always been meant for children. I made that movie intended for 12-year-olds.
Yes.
It was the story of growing up and choosing between bad and good and light and dark, and Star Wars is meant for children. So as much as critics want to say things about Star Wars and about my choices, it wasn't for you, it was for children.
Right.
Which is a good reminder, I think, for people who are constantly bitching about Star Wars.
I don't know, it's something I've always kept in mind. I mean, that's why Jar Jar exists.
That's why Jar Jar exists. I mean, he was the comic relief for children.
Right.
As an adult, it's horrible. But I mean, if you think about the entire generation of kids whose the prequels are their favorite films.
Yeah.
Because that's what they grew up on, just like we grew up on the original trilogy.
So a better way to think of it probably now is Rebels. Rebels is their favorite thing now. And we don't get it now. Right.
It's not for us. And I think we've said that on the podcast. As much as we hate it, I know
we're going to keep crapping on Rebels.
I know it's not for me. Whereas the difference with Clone Wars was I was, it was earlier in my 20s, and I was younger, and it was a little bit darker than Rebels is, because Rebels is on a TV station for younger children.
Clone Wars.
It was
there's the TV show. I'm thinking Attack of the Clones.
So Clone Wars was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
But Rebels is on Disney XD. It's meant for a younger audience, whereas Clone Wars was on Cartoon Network, which is meant for teens to 20s, because they, that's pretty much what their audience is. So as much as I hate Rebels, I know it's not for me, and I know it's not going to get me like it gets other people, even though there are people my age or older that love Rebels. For some reason, I just can't.
Right.
I can't, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
We have our feelings about Rebels, and everyone knows
it's
our feelings about Rebels. But it was nice to hear George talking about Star Wars, to be remembering things about Star Wars.
Did it feel to you like he was, I don't know, like there was a freedom to say things that he normally wouldn't have said in the past? It felt to me a little bit like that.
Yeah, I think it did. Especially with talking about critics, talking about stuff. And just saying some of his feelings of making the film and doing what he ended up, what he wanted to do.
Like at the same time, like you're saying, he did seem a little, how Why did I agree to this? I don't know.
He looked like he was just waiting for a snack. That's the look. That's the
Just
only way I
bored,
can
yeah.
describe his look.
A little bored.
all
But
right,
at the same time,
still doing this.
at the same time, almost maybe it's because it's not his baby anymore. You know,
Maybe.
he doesn't feel the need to. I don't know.
Maybe he's not precious about it anymore.
He was never really defensive about stuff. He would just not really talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
when things would come up. But now it's like he, at least at this panel, it was like he was separated from it a little bit, so he could say things that he normally wouldn't have.
Yeah, and then after George, they brought out Dave Filoni with George. So
Yeah.
George stayed out the entire
But
time.
that was really cool.
and they
I
brought
really,
Dave Filoni out, and George was like, "This is one of my kids."
Yeah.
Like, he was glad to see Dave, and they talked about discussing things and how involved George was with like Clone Wars and with
Right.
bringing Dave up with understanding Star Wars.
All those stories we heard about Dave going to George for advice and like all these
Making
philosophical
decisions and
discussions over just the story of Star Wars as a whole and certain characters and things like that. It was really cool to see them together
yeah, it was.
up there. Cuz you could tell, you could see their relationship like you're saying. George, what he said about Filoni, you could just tell right away. It was cool.
It was. And so after Filoni, they sent Filoni away, and then they played a clip from the Liam Neeson's.
Liam Neeson's.
He
Liam
was
Neeson's
on
came.
some film set, so they played a clip from him talking about.
He had crap all over his face.
I'm assuming it was movie makeup, or he just killed someone. one of the two.
It could be either
Maybe
thing,
it was,
right?
It was movie makeup that had to cover the fact that he killed someone. And he was talking about, it's amazing. It's been 40 years, and then he went off on some Jar Jar.
He doesn't have like a thing, does he? A skin thing?
No.
You sure?
Maybe he does now.
I've never
It's been
seen
a
that
long
on him.
time.
That's why I'm making fun of him.
And then he went on a diatribe about needing the Jar Jar films coming out and all of that. So he felt the need to bring that up for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know why he's spending time to confirm that. Thanks a lot, Liam Neeson.
Yeah. So after that clip, they then brought out Ian McDiarmid and Hayden Christensen. And of course, Ian McDiarmid is always amazing.
He's great, yeah.
Hayden was our
Hayden.
our Hayden. That's our Hayden. As much as we hate on him, it was really cool to see him talking about Star Wars and how much fun he had making it and being a part of it. And it almost, to me, seeing him talking about it was almost like, I'm allowed back in the club now. Like I can be with you guys.
No.
It seemed to me like that. Like Hayden was glad to be there again.
He was glad to be there, but it wasn't like he ever left.
There did seem to be a hesitance. Like, when's the joke? When's the prank? Where's Ashton? Where's the prank that's about to happen?
Ashton. Really? Him? That's your reference?
Am I showing my age with the punked reference?
Where's the cooch? Bring out the cooch.
And now Hayden's never allowed to be involved in Star Wars ever again.
K-U-T-C-H.
Oh.
No, he didn't seem like can I be back in the club? He seemed
glad to be there.
He seemed like he never wanted to be a part of the club, and he's just like, oh yeah, there's that.
I don't agree with that.
That thing,
I think it was cool seeing him talking about Star Wars again in a safe space.
But this isn't like his. Well, maybe I should get back into Star Wars stuff again.
He might need the money. Maybe this is the time he needs to get back in on the con circuit.
I don't think he's gonna do that, but
No, maybe not.
we'll see.
I think it was cool to see him, especially him and Ian McDiarmid talking about working together.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see.
It was, yeah.
Because we've not really gotten to see that in forever.
Right.
So after that, they played a clip from Sam Jackson, and he's still on his kick that he is alive. That even though his hands are missing and he flew out of a window, that
he's been going on ever since he got killed off.
Every time he gets a chance, he talks about
super
the fact
bitter
yeah.
that he had to die, and he still swears that he's still alive. Mace Windu is still alive,
and that he's coming back. All he wants to do is be back in Star Wars, handless, or I guess he'd have robo hands.
Which is funny because Ewan is kind of like that. He's only ever said, "I would love to come back."
Well,
Sam Jackson,
when asked, he's like, "I would love to come back," but Sam's like, "Hey, Star Wars guys, hey, I could have survived. I'm coming back, you son of a bitch." Like he's always done that, like very outright without being questioned about it.
Where would
wanting
they,
back
I wonder
in.
Where would they bring him back. You think in a Rebels type show, they would bring him back? That would be.
I don't know.
You think he'll ever come back?
At this point, I think it's just they can't. It's been too long that they can't bring him back
think
now.
if they could bring back a guy that was severed in half.
Well, yes.
They
That's
could
probably why
bring
they're just letting it heap up on Sam Jackson. It's principle now. They just can't go back on the fact that they haven't brought him back at this point. After Sam Jackson video, they brought out Billy D, Mayhew, and Anthony Daniels. So at that point there was George Lucas, Peter Mayhew, and Anthony
D.
Daniels and Billy D. Williams. So you have this, and of course Warwick Davis was moderating. So you have like the entire original crew almost, and then they brought out Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
So everyone except for Harrison,
Right.
who was actually there.
Yeah.
And
Good way to say that. Yeah. it's a
no,
great-
like, so they brought everyone out, and then they brought out Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah.
I was not expecting him
Me
to
neither.
be there at all.
Totally not.
And then in talking with my wife about this, I'm assuming because of Carrie's passing, there probably was some like if we're all going to get together, we all need to get together
Yes.
at this point.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Like it's all right, we need to do this. Let's, put aside whatever feelings we have about what our involvement was or wasn't.
Yeah. So it was, so the only people missing at that point on stage, the only people missing were Carrie Fisher and R2,
Kenny Baker.
Kenny Baker.
You mean from the original cast?
Yes, from the original cast. So the entire original cast was there except for Kenny Baker and Carrie Fisher, which was really cool to have them all in one place.
Yeah.
Talking about Star Wars and telling various stories.
Right.
That was really awesome. And then, of course, they followed it up with a beautiful tribute video to Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
It was an amazing video. If you haven't watched it, please do. Of course, it was introduced by her daughter, Billie Lourd. And then a surprise concert by John Williams.
They just yanked back the curtain behind
Curtain
him, and
drop,
there's
John Williams and the Orlando Philharmonic.
Yeah, with the whole orchestra and just launching into music.
They started off with Leia's theme.
Yeah,
which like killed everyone in the
super
room.
Emotional.
Everyone just started crying. And apparently no one knew they were behind the stage that entire time.
Yeah.
Because Warwick Davis was off. Kathleen Kennedy was talking about this on the Star Wars show stage, that Warwick was backstage watching on one of the monitors. And he's like, Kathleen, where is that? She's like, that was right behind you. Really? Yeah. So there apparently no one, like Pablo said, he didn't know. The girl Andy Gutierrez from Star Wars show, like no one knew that was going to happen or was behind the stage, I guess, except for maybe Kathleen. They just had a hidden secret orchestra hanging out on a stage that no one knew was there.
And if you think about it, they had to sit there completely silent through that whole thing.
Not a plank or a plonk, nothing.
I wonder
Hanging
how,
out for an hour.
because they had to rehearse some of this stuff, right? I wonder if or maybe they didn't rehearse
I guess
that.
probably offsite at wherever the Orlando Philharmonic rehearses things.
Well, I meant the people doing the panel.
Yeah,
I
mean,
wonder
they
if
would
they
have had
ran a rehearsal.
I don't know. That is pretty funny though.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing that happened on Thursday. There was a little tidbit from Billy D. Williams' panel with Warwick Davis, his Smooth Talking with Billy D., where he confirmed that Lando will most definitely not appear in The Last Jedi. Which I really thought
That's
he
a
was
little
going.
sad.
I really thought he was going to be in there.
With Han dying, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So according to Billy D, he's not going to be in there. Which I wouldn't expect him to say that if it were not the case.
Right.
So that's interesting to note, I guess, going to The Last Jedi. I mean, of course, there's a ton of story they need to get into that doesn't involve Lando,
Yeah.
but it would have been a nice, I guess, cameo if there's a Han funeral of any type.
Yeah. It's sad because I think episode 9, at that point, it would be too late for him to show up. Like with episode 8, this is going to be us kind of moving past Han.
Yeah.
I would imagine. And then episode 9 is probably going to be a big part of it's going to be not having Leia around anymore somehow.
Yeah, because we have notes on that too. But Kathleen has said that Carrie Fisher will not appear in episode 9.
Right. Yeah.
So, however, they've worked that into episode 8. Either it was already planned,
Yeah.
or they had to go back and rework some things.
They did have to go back. Excuse me. They did have to go back and rework some stuff because they had a script that,
Oh,
or
they
at
had to
least a
rework-
draft
She said they had
or
to
an
go back and
outline or
rework some
something.
stuff for 9, didn't she?
yeah, they had a draft or an outline or something. And then after all this happened, they had to go back with Colin and, the story group and everybody
Yeah.
and figure all that out again. So I don't know. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know if there was an opportunity for Lando to show up again, I think it would have been an 8. And it's kind of sad to hear that that's not happening,
Yeah. It is.
But anyway,
Moving on to day 2, the very first thing in the morning was the Last Jedi panel, moderated by Josh Gad, which I thought was perfect.
it was really funny.
That was a really good idea.
He did a great
I never
job.
thought of that, but the fact that he's been pestering Daisy Ridley for
Yeah.
a year or two about what's going to happen in The Last Jedi with all those various videos he's done.
He did a
questioning
really, really good job. Like Warwick, I feel, was very
Official. He's
official,
very
very professional, almost to a fault. Not quite, because
Yeah.
he's an amazing guy and he did a really good job. But in all the panels that he hosted, but Josh was very loose, seemed very comfortable.
good. Yeah.
He was.
It was really cool they
hilarious.
brought him in for that. So they actually brought out Kathleen and Ryan Johnson, and then Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Mark Hamill, and Kelly Marie Tran. So we've got lots of details on that panel. So I don't know how much we want to go into that because I think our next episode is going to be The Last Jedi focused as we get together some more thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, we can say. We can go over the highlights. Like,
Yeah, so
obviously they showed a teaser.
yes, they showed the trailer to the room, and then of course it went up live for everyone else right then or shortly thereafter. An amazing trailer, and they actually played it once, and then Ryan Johnson came back out and said he wanted to watch it with us again.
Yeah.
And then they played it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense.
It was good.
It was very intense. And then they showed a sick ass poster, teaser poster, which is probably the coolest Star Wars teaser poster
I was thinking
to
about
ever
this.
come out.
Out of all the posters, and I went and looked up each one, I think the most iconic, at least from my point of view, are the Episode 1 poster with Anakin in the shadow of Vader.
That one's cool. Yeah.
And this one.
The prequels had some cool teaser posters, but this one is really, really cool.
I don't know, because I looked back and the only one I'm talking iconic, like,
Well, yeah.
it's gonna stay in your mind. You're
Yes.
gonna be able to remember without seeing it what it was.
Yeah. The art style of this one is it burns
It's very
into your memory.
it's simple and straight to the point, basically.
Yeah. So
but layered,
all of
in a
us
way.
that were at so there was the main panel with the live, which we didn't make it into, but because we didn't want to sleep overnight. We did end up in one of the streaming panel rooms, and all the streaming panel rooms and the main panel room, everyone got one of those posters. Yes. So I have that now,
So
and
do I.
I will treasure it forever.
Me too.
Yes, it's a beautiful poster.
It's amazing.
So yeah, there were a lot of things said by Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran, who we learned her character's name is Rose.
Yeah, and our normal
Mark
episode
Hamill.
that's coming out on Monday, if you're listening to this, the day it comes out. Our next episode, we're gonna get into all that
On the
we have
normal
lots of
on the
things.
normal episode release day, we're going to be talking all Last Jedi, so we will definitely get into some of that, all of that.
We got lots of things that we need to say.
So moving on day 2, there was
Before we move on, can
yeah.
I say one of the main highlights for me was that I was also right about the meaning of the title for the movie.
We're still at the same point where you're like, I'm right, but we were both right because it's the same thing that we both meant anyways.
Well, no, because I was right more. So let's just sit
You were
here.
more right in that we were both right.
I was more right than I was right.
Sure.
I was
Why
more correct.
Ryan Johnson has said he feels that the title of The Last Jedi is
Well,
singular and
he
it
just
means
made the
Luke.
movie, so that's fine.
But at the same time, in the trailer, Luke says the Jedi must end.
Yes, but the Last Jedi title, I was right.
We didn't bet on that one, so you get nothing from me. Nothing.
So we could just sit here and think about that for a second about how right I was. Feels good.
No, it doesn't. Whatever.
Feels good.
Another announcement on day 2 was Forces of Destiny, which is a shorts series to air on Disney's YouTube channel with
Shorts.
an interesting art style, very cartoony, and it
Shorts?
looks like it's just a grab for merchandise, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
It is cool that they got Daisy Ridley's going to be voicing Rey in the short that she's in. I mean,
Well,
it's cool,
okay,
cool
so-
for stuff like that.
The motivation behind it is good.
Yes.
And that's to introduce more basically strong female characters. And
but they're going to do other characters, not just the females.
well, I thought that was the whole
No, there's
point.
going to be some of like, I think there's some Chewbacca and some of them, there's a couple male characters, but there's a large focus on the female characters.
So what's the point of the show then?
They're shorts. They're just little shorts on different characters. There's not like, I don't think there's an arc at all.
Oh. Are they existing characters or are they introducing new characters?
Well, there's going to be one on Rey. There's one on Sabine. I think there's one on Chewie. I don't remember past that.
Oh, I thought the whole point of it was, well, anyway.
And along with announcing that shorts are coming,
I mean, it does.
They announced all the dolls that were coming out for the Forces of Destiny, which just seemed like we're making this YouTube thing so that you can buy these Hasbro toys. Thank you.
It did really seem
It really
like,
felt that way. The timing of like Forces of Destiny and the dolls that come with it.
right. Like
Only
it
two
was,
payments of $9.95.
it's
What
like,
now?
I don't know. It felt like, Barbie's Playhouse, and then the computer game comes out with it.
It really did feel like that.
Where it's just like, you just
It is interesting that
just
they're
buy
going
the
to
toys, we'll
have
be
a
happy.
Star Wars. It is interesting that they're going to YouTube Shorts for something. That's new. I think that's new for Disney too.
YouTube Shorts.
Short episodes of a thing on YouTube.
Shorts.
Yes, those are different from the shorts you wear while you watch YouTube on your couch.
My YouTube Shorts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are completely.
Don't we all
different.
have YouTube Shorts?
I mean,
you know,
I do. I
the
don't know about
holes are
everyone
in
else,
all the
but these
right-
are shorts on YouTube and not a video of shorts, but a short video
Well,
on
I don't
YouTube.
know what other people do, but
You can wear your YouTube shorts while watching your YouTube shorts about YouTube shorts.
okay.
Does
That's
that work?
fine.
Okay.
Wait, what? There's a YouTube Shorts about YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, about
Really?
about your shorts.
About my YouTube Shorts?
Yeah. So you make a video about your YouTube shorts and then watch the
sounds
YouTube
like-
short while wearing your YouTube shorts. So
sounds
it's like
I've got some homework.
pantception.
I don't know about anyone else, but my YouTube Shorts are,
Crusty.
well, the holes are in all the right spots.
No, thank you.
No?
And
You don't
on
wanna-
that note, wrapping up day 2 was the
You don't wanna
Carrie
bite?
Fisher tribute.
You want to bite on that one?
No, not
No?
at all. I don't want to bite on your YouTube short holes.
Oh. Well,
Thank you. So the end of day 2 was Carrie Fisher's tribute by Mark Hamill, and I still haven't watched it because I can't bring myself to yet.
I did. It was really good. It's not as gut wrenching as you would
It's
think
Mark
it would
telling
be.
stories about Carrie, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's all amazing stories that I've never heard before.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I need to sit down and watch it. I'm just not emotionally. At the end of a work day, I'm not emotionally there to sit down and give myself to that yet. I need to. I hear it's amazing.
I mean, like everything with Mark, he can sit there and talk for hours.
Such a good storyteller.
And you'll hear maybe one thing that he said before, but the rest is like stuff that it's like
Yeah.
he's like Kevin Smith in a way where he's
He
just
can
got
talk
endless.
and talk.
He'll talk and
and it's
talk
all
and talk.
interesting.
Yeah, and he'll go off on these rabbit trails that are amazing, and you can't believe he is just now remembering this stuff.
Yeah,
And then wrap it all back to the original thing that he was trying to tell you about, and
Yeah.
it's
it's really cool.
It was great. You need to watch it. Anyone out there who hasn't seen it, it's worth watching for sure. Very good.
I need to do it.
It's good.
Moving on to day 3, the big panel in the morning was Rebels season 4, and we didn't go to it because, as you know,
Who
we have
cares?
feelings about that. But interesting to note,
No, that's not true. We do have plenty of feelings about it, just not.
We don't have
good
those feelings about it. It is interesting to note that it was announced that it's going to be the last season of Rebels,
Thankfully.
and it's going to be a single story arc, basically through that season, to wrap things up.
Oh, really?
And Dave Filoni.
How many episodes did they say?
I didn't see. I know they showed the first episode in the panel, and then Dave Filoni's. It was interesting. It was funny thing that Dave Filoni said about you saw what happened when I didn't get to end a show before,
Yeah.
so
saw
we're
that.
ending this when it's time to end this.
Yeah. Which
so
is good.
maybe it's time that I watch Rebels because I know I only have to deal with 4 seasons of it.
Well, okay. So how much have you seen?
Season 1, half of season 2, and then any important
Really? That's it?
any important episodes that came up.
You
along
didn't
the
even
way.
watch the finale of season 2?
Just the finale. Yeah,
That's so you watch all of season 1. How many of?
a few episodes of season 2,
And
but
then
I
the
watched
finale.
the finale because I heard that that's when important things happen. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I caught some of season 3 while I was at a Disney hotel a few months ago.
That sounds like you were invested heavily.
And then there was apparently some stuff with Obi-Wan
Yeah,
and
Obi-Wan
Saul.
and Maul.
Was Saul there?
I don't know. We shouldn't even try to talk
Yeah,
about
he
it.
was. I think he was in this episode that I watched. He was there.
Yeah.
That's right. They
And
went back to Geonosis.
interesting to note in some of the clips for it, there were X-wings, which haven't been in the show yet, and there was a shot of the Ghost flying over Yavin 4, like it was going into land, which we know it's at that base because of Rogue One. It was there for the attack on Scarif, as well as them announced, over the intercom talking about General Syndulla.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that like Rebels, get on it.
There it is.
It's happening.
Go get your YouTube shorts.
Yes. After that, things that happened that we care more about is Battlefront 2 was...
Well, let's rephrase that. I care more about that.
Michael cares more about... Battlefront 2 is a great game that I suck at.
Is that really the only reason you won't play that game? Is
Yeah, I'm
'cause you're
just not
bad
good.
at it?
I'm not going to play a
so
game that I'm
much.
not having
It's so-
fun in
it's
because
so
I'm
much
just so
fun.
bad at it. It's not my... I don't play those types of games.
Ugh,
It's just...
whatever.
I can't.
Well, anyway, the pre-order's up right now. There's a special edition that has... I haven't looked into all the features of the game, but apparently there's like trooper... what do you call it? Classes
Yeah.
now that you can play as. But anyway, the special super platinum deluxe diamond edition has
Everything,
a bunch of trooper classes
sure,
unlocked
statue or something.
and weapons unlocked and bunch of stuff that didn't really sound that interesting.
It is cool that there's a more story-based experience in it. They said...
Can I talk about the guy who was there for Battlefront that was behind us in line on Friday?
No.
Tai
I
Chi
don't
guy.
remember. Oh, him.
Do you remember Tai Chi guy?
The guy that didn't know he was supposed to be at Celebration.
Well, I want to tell the story.
Go for it.
Just talk more about Battlefront and then I'll tell the story. Finish
Sure.
talking about Battlefront.
Yeah, so they said that there's going to be a more story-based gaming experience, plus an array of characters and vehicles from across all eras of the Star Wars timeline. Like they showed, there's Kylo Ren and I think Rey. But
Maul, you
it
can
is
play as
interesting
Maul.
and Maul. So after many complaints of there not being any type of story-based items, it's cool that they're bringing that in. And then this, during Celebrations when we found out as well that the novel coming out, Inferno Squadron, which we didn't really know exactly what the point of the book was, other than that it was a squadron after Rogue One that existed, and it's actually a prequel to the story of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, the single player story is told from the either a member of the squad or the leader of that squad.
It's a female character.
Ah!
So that's what the Twitter assholes are freaking out. Why does everything have to be a strong female character? Why can't
That's
it just
not
be
Twitter.
a man?
That's like
She can't-
YouTube
well,
and Reddit
4chan and 9gag and
and Reddit.
6 butts. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, you go on 6 butts too?
Well,
Oh,
when you got them, fun them.
what's your username?
It's all a lie.
Mine's Globe Lover. Just one, not globes.
What? I think you should see a doctor.
No, I just love the globe. I don't know. what
All
you're
right, now
thinking
tell
about.
the amazing story about the guy in line at Star Wars
So
Celebration that was just
we-
there to talk about Battlefront.
So we get in line Friday to go see the Last Jedi panel, and we're sitting there freaking out that we're not going to be able to make it in because we're hearing conflicting information, and so at least my mind, anyways, in a completely other place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sit down and try to read my Kindle. I'm reading Thrawn, by the way.
Yay!
I'm 35
You're actually further along than I am.
I'm 35% through it. It's good, but not like I felt like
What do you mean?
it felt like Heir to the Jedi to me, where it's like it's a really good story, but it doesn't really affect anything. At least not yet.
What's the backstory of Thrawn?
What?
I mean, it's like the backstory of Thrawn. It's not
Yes.
really affecting anything that we care about because it's in Rebels.
Because it's what?
in Rebels.
Oh, well, whatever. Anyway,
I care about Thrawn, and I want to know all about him.
so do I. That's why I'm reading it. And
that
that's
I
why I'm
can
reading it
love
faster
him
than you
forever.
are. Because you what?
Nothing.
What?
Go ahead.
What? So I sit down to read Thrawn to try to relax and not freak out that we might miss this thing that we got there at 5:30 in the morning to see.
Yeah.
And this guy taps me on the shoulder and points to my special lanyard that I bought months and months and months
Yeah,
ago.
the Yavin Award.
The Yavin,
Lanyard.
the Yavin metal lanyard. Points to it and says, "Hey, where did you get that?" And so I look down and I assume he's talking about the Yavin
Makes
metal.
sense because not everyone has them, and
Right, and it's a special
thing
thing.
you ordered beforehand. Yeah.
Right. So I said, "Well, yeah, I got that online. Ordered it online when I bought my tickets, the pre-order, months and months ago." And he's like, "Oh, but no, that," and he points down, and he's pointing at my badge,
Your Friday admission.
my
badge.
admission
Yeah.
badge,
Yeah.
the thing that everyone had.
Like the adult 1-day Friday badge. Yes.
And when people ask really obvious questions like that, I immediately second guess myself, like, oh, well, maybe are they giving out like paper tickets or something like that to people that buy them that day, or
If only.
something. What?
If only that was what was happening.
Well, so yeah. So I look at my badge and I kind of look at him and go, oh, that's just my admission badge. That's what I
That's how
bought that.
Got in.
That's my ticket. I bought it months and months ago, and that's it's just the admission badge. And he said, "Oh, well, where did you get it?" And I said, I bought it online. They shipped it to me. I got it in the mail. Do you have one? I asked him that.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I said, well, there's a will call thing. And I pointed behind him. There's a will call desk that you have to go to pick up your badge. You should probably do that because it's necessary.
Because he's in line to go to the Last Jedi panel.
Yeah, we're in the wristband line.
We've already
get
got
a wristband.
We
We've
hadn't
gone
got our
through-
we hadn't got our wristbands yet, had we?
No, we
Yeah,
were waiting
okay.
to get them. This is the wristband line. We had gone through security already.
Yeah. But you don't have to have the badge to get into the building. You have to have it to go into the show floor and then the panels.
Yes. Well, so
Supposedly.
we assume that security did not look at our badges.
Well, no, because they don't check
The
your badges
wristband-
until you're going into an area that requires a badge.
The
You could
wristband
just
people, I don't
wander
think,
around.
said anything
No.
about that.
So this
either.
guy got a Last Jedi panel.
Well,
wristband.
wait. So let me finish the story. So he is still confused about what this thing is that I'm wearing on my neck. And
why you have it? and
why do
where
I
you
have
got
it? Where did I get it? And so I ask him, do you where's yours? Do you have a badge? He's like, oh, no. I haven't got mine yet.
Does that mean he hasn't purchased it or he didn't pick it up?
So I asked him, you should probably get that because I don't think you can go in without an admission badge. And he says, oh, I figured I'd get my wristband and then I'll go figure out what I need to do to get my badge later. So I'm just staring at this guy like, what is happening right now? What are you doing?
Dude drove down from Philly, is what he said.
Yes, this guy is from Philadelphia.
He came to Florida from Philadelphia.
Yes.
He flew, I think he said.
Yeah, he flew.
But he didn't
Doesn't
purchase
have a badge. I
at
don't know
all.
if he bought it
or not.
I,
It was
I
really
just-
hard to tell.
I stopped talking to him at that point.
That's when he put in his earbuds and then started
Oh,
doing.
wait, hold on. So
Yeah.
I stopped talking to him. I turned away from him. I don't want to deal with that right now. That's the least of my worries. I told him what he needed to do. He can decide what he wants to do from there. So I start reading again. The line moves a little bit, whatever. We go a little further down. And at that point, we're standing, both of us, and we're just losing our minds because
Well, just stand up for a little while. You sit down for a little while because you're in line for 2 hours.
I mean, it had, what is it, like 8:30 at that point? So it'd
Yeah.
been like 3 hours of just standing, sitting, moving slightly.
Crunching closer. Yeah.
So this guy is behind us now, and I'm just looking around, and I see movement out of the corner of my eye, and I kind of turn around a little bit, And this guy is back behind you. You were right next to me. Back behind you. You've got your back to him.
Yep.
Doing like moving his hands all around and like doing crazy these like
Tai-chi, dancing
like some
Tai-chi?
kind of martial art like focusing stuff. But like his full wingspan, like stretching his arms completely
when everyone
out.
else is scrunched together as close as they possibly can get because they're making us do that.
He has made this circle around him, swinging his arms around, doing this kind of weird Tai Chi stuff, getting within probably 6 inches of your back, doing this like pushing stuff. And let's try to like look around to see if anyone else is seeing this.
I'm not certain he knew where he was or why he was there.
I don't
At
think
that
so.
point, he just came down from Philly and appeared at Celebration. Was like, "Hey, what's going on? No, I'm here. How'd you get that? What's your?"
So this goes on for probably literally 30 minutes
Yep.
of doing this stuff. You've got your back to him. I was texting you because I can't.
refuse to turn around.
He's right next to me. I can't speak without him hearing me.
Yeah.
So I'm texting
Like,
you like,
look behind you.
do not move. He's gonna hit you. So we get a little further down, and he puts in his earbuds and starts like violently dancing in front of us to something. And then the guy that he was with looks at him, and so this other guy takes it as a cue to take out his earbuds, unplug his headphones, turn his phone all the way up, and start playing this dance music in line.
Like,
dancing. Oh my gosh.
It was
So that was Tai Chi guy.
It was fun.
And then later on, we saw him at another panel with a badge.
With a badge.
I did see a badge on him.
So
Somehow he got in, got a wristband.
I imagine there's just someone knocked out in the corner.
It
and
wasn't
took the
later.
badge.
It was at the panel. Remember? We saw him at the panel.
Yeah.
The Last
I
Jedi.
don't
So
know
somehow
how.
he got into that panel.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Oh, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. How do people get through life like
It's
that?
like if someone in line came up to me and was like, "So, why are you here?" The Star Wars Celebration. What's that? You're in line with me at
It's been
Star Wars
like
Celebration for a
3
wristband
hours
for
at
the
this
Last
point.
Jedi panel, which they're gonna have a trailer at. What are you talking about? That was.
Anyway.
I mean, you've been in line for so long that you just have a contempt for everything, and then someone's asking you stupid questions about, so what? How'd you walk through the door? My damn feet, asshole! Shut up! I'm sitting and standing and sitting and standing, and I don't have time for you anymore.
Basically, why are you here?
Yeah.
And how did you get here?
Well, my mother and my father.
Oh, and I completely forgot to mention the whole reason I brought that up was because he was only there, from what he was telling me, to see the Battlefront panel.
Even though he was in line for the Last Jedi trailer wristband.
He was
panel
that.
wristband.
At least that was the only thing he was talking about, was how excited he was for Battlefront 2. Like, oh my gosh!
Welcome to just watch the live stream. Anyways, after that, later in day 3, there was the Writers' Roundtable.
It was a long day.
It was a long day. Later on that day was the Writers' Roundtable, which was way better than I hoped. They were talking, they had a lot of writers on the panel. They had
Timothy Zahn was there.
Delilah Dawson.
Christy wasn't there.
Ken Liu, Ben Acker and Ben Blacker, who wrote a kid's book. Chuck Wendig wasn't on that panel.
No, there was
Claudia Gray wasn't there either.
No, there was another guy, and I'm blanking on his name. I think he's a comic book writer.
I think so.
Anyway.
Anyways, they did announce that they're just like with The Force Awakens, they're doing Journey to the Star Wars: The Last Jedi,
which was
with a
really
book series.
I for some reason I just wasn't even expecting they were going to be doing that.
Yes, which there's some great books coming with that, like Leia, Princess of Alderaan, written by Claudia Gray, who wrote Bloodlines.
Which was funny because they announced that right after someone on the panel had just said they had answered a question about what would you most like to write.
Yeah.
And it was, I want to write a young adult novel about Leia.
Yeah.
And then they announced this,
Yeah.
this young adult
So
novel
we're getting
about
another Leia book from Claudia Gray, which is awesome because she wrote Leia so well in Bloodline, I thought.
Yeah.
We're getting Legends of Luke Skywalker from a Hugo, Nebula, and World Fantasy Award-winning author Ken Liu, which I've never heard of him before, but apparently he's really good because he's won a lot of awards.
And this is Legends of Luke, like full timeline Luke, right? Not just
I guess so.
original trilogy Luke. So we could possibly hear some stories that
Stories along the way of the
after Force Awakens, or leading up to it.
Possibly, yes.
Stuff that we have not heard yet.
There's a lot of kids books that are coming out, some really cool kids books that I'm interested in for my son. But best of all, we are getting a Phasma novel. And I am so freaking excited. If you have not looked up the Phasma novel by Delilah Dawson, the pre-order is up online. The cover is of Phasma's helmet, just like straight front shot of her helmet, and it is gorgeous. It is a beautiful cover.
Yeah. I have pre-ordered it.
She wrote the young adult novel for the Journey to Force Awakens, The Perfect Weapon, which was about that assassin that called in the First Order at Maz's castle.
Yes. Right.
So she is used to write. That was a book about a fierce woman, and she's writing another book about a fierce woman, which, coming from the author, her thing said
fierce, beautiful, amazing woman.
So Delilah said that about Phasma, she always thought it was interesting that her helmet is chrome, so you have to watch yourself die. Hearing that from the author that's writing a book about Phasma, I'm very excited. Yeah. Along with that, there's going to be a 4-issue mini-series from Marvel about Phasma as well.
Yes, I'm really excited for both of those.
So I'm glad that they are giving us Phasma stuff that's not just what we saw in The Force Awakens.
She's the new Boba Fett, I'm telling you. I've said that all along.
They're expanding on it now, which Boba Fett means that she would have been in the next film and then fell into a hole.
Well, okay, so they're doing with
Boba
her
Fett
what they should have done with Fett.
Yes.
Originally.
Exactly. So
that's what I've always said.
I'm guessing this would be a backstory to Phasma, I'm assuming, like leading up to The Force Awakens.
I guess. I don't know.
So it'll be.
I don't care.
I'm very excited to get any information on Phasma at this point. So that will be. I'm really, really excited for that book that comes out in September. Beginning of September.
Pre-order says August 29th, but I don't know.
But at the panel they said September 1st or 9th. Something
Maybe
like
it hits stores in September or something. Who knows?
Could be.
But so pre-order it. I have, and so should you. And so should you.
I pre-ordered
Tyler.
the Kindle ebook version,
okay,
not the hardback. Like you, Mr. Money Pants, Money Shorts.
That's my YouTube shorts.
The holes.
Money comes out of the holes.
Well, in any case.
Well, no, I got it because of that artwork. I wanted the hardcover.
Well, we got a poster from that panel of the Phasma artwork.
And Delilah did sign it. She was doing signings.
So I've got that. So that's good. I could do a whole panel. I could do a whole episode on the next topic. Later that day, on day 3, was the Disney Parks panel.
Oh, we've talked for so much already. I just saw the time.
That's fine. This is
we can do this.
This is our celebration decompression episode.
Yes.
Disney Parks panel. Being that we live in Orlando, Florida, and we both have Disney passes and go all the time and get to see the Star Wars construction, we're looking very much forward to Star Wars Land coming. They had on the panel, they had some Imagineers, they had Pablo, and they had the visual effects director, or the art director from Lucasfilm.
It was Doug Chang.
Yeah, Doug Chang.
The guy who does all the production art for...
Yeah, he's the art director for...
Did it all for
Lucasfilm.
Force Awakens. He did it for Rogue One. Yes. He's done it before Force Awakens for various things.
They have him, they have Pablo,
he's amazing.
2 Imagineers, and then the project managers for the projects at Disney.
Yeah.
One, talking about Star Tours, the Star Tours ride that already exists, they are going to be adding the place we saw in the trailer for Force Awakens where those ships were going through what looked like sand, but the red dust was coming up. Mm-hmm. That planet is called Crate, and they're going to be adding some Crate scenes
confirmed
to Star Tours, which is awesome.
Yes.
And that's cool. We figured they'd be adding more scenes to that ride because that's what they did with the Force Awakens.
Right.
Here's where it gets real pants blastingly interesting. The Star Wars Land.
You better put those pants in a place where they can be blasted safely. Because
get ready.
That's
Michael's already blasted his pants. He just can't help it. So the moderator for the panel, they invited him out to look at some of the stuff that they're doing for the Star Wars Land.
Is he the Star Wars show guy? Where is he from? Because I've seen him before.
I honestly
Dave
don't
Collins
remember.
is his
Yeah,
name.
I honestly don't remember. You can
I've
look him up while I talk if you want.
I've seen him somewhere before.
So they invited him out about a week and a half before the panel to look at some of the stuff they were doing so he could talk about it on the panel and know what he was talking about. And just first off,
there's a really ugly baseball player called Dave Collins.
okay.
Assume
So
it's
first
not
off,
him.
he said, I had the idea that, he'd be like, oh, I could go over here to this section where it's Tatooine, and I can go over here and get some blue milk, and I can go over to here, which is like Kashyyyk. He's like, which most of you may be thinking as well. He's like, it is so much more. It is 10 times more than what I thought it was going to be. And when they started talking about what they're going to have, my brain hurts.
It was
just thinking about
blowing
some of
our
this stuff.
minds.
So the setting is a place that we have never seen before, but has existed for thousands of years. It's an outpost from the sub-lightspeed days that is now a place where you can go and hide or disappear. There's a resistance presence. There's first order presence. There's bounty
There's an
hunter,
underworld
presence.
Yeah. So let me say real quick, when they said that, and this is before we heard all of the stuff that we're about to talk about, when they first said this is a world that we haven't seen before, I was
this location is a place we haven't seen before.
yes, well, yeah,
not
not
necessarily the
world.
planet. Yeah.
Well,
Pablo was very specifically saying when we thought about where in the universe this would be, we had to think about this, really specific and detailed as to its placement. So it could be on a world we know of, but not something we've seen on the world before.
He said that after someone asked, "Is this in the Outer Rim?"
Well,
So I
Dave
think
Collins was talking about. He's like, is it in the unknown regions or like the Outer Rim somewhere out there? And Pablo
Right.
was
So
like,
I think they're gonna drop this pin, so to speak, in
Guess
a place that we're very familiar with, like the Outer Rim or something like that.
with a new planet or a planet we already know of.
A new planet. I'm pretty sure
Just like drop a new planet into the map.
yeah.
That would be very interesting.
But anyway, real quick, I'll say when they first said that it was a new location, whatever it is, planet or city, I was a little disappointed because I thought it was going to be
At first I was.
someplace like Mos Eisley or like a place
Something
that we
you're
already
familiar
knew.
with.
Yeah, a little
I
disappointed.
don't
but,
care anymore at all.
So I'm saying that to say, if you are disappointed to hear that, here's what we heard.
If you haven't watched the
after.
live stream, because there was a live stream of it.
Yes.
So, first off, one of the Imagineers they had there, she's in charge of live action, so actors. Basically, if you've heard of the Harry Potter world, Hogwarts at Universal Studios,
It's amazing.
it's awesome, and there's like street actors who are wizards, and like people just walking around. You feel like you're in Harry Potter, other than the thousands of people that are there with their Florida shirts on and flip flops.
Well, actually, they don't have actors walking around, but they have stage
like little
shows
wizard
and-
stage shows that stuff comes out and happens.
and all the shop people are all dressed up and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
so it's kind
But
of
anyway.
like you're in an RPG, like a live action,
a little.
very lightly.
I will say, walking into either place in either of the islands of
It
adventure,
feels like you're entering a new world.
yeah. If you completely separate from the rest,
They did
of
a great job
Universal.
of that. And so
Yeah.
when they started talking about this Star Wars land, it sounds like that times 100.
Yeah,
So there's going to be like street actors, and they had concept art of like aliens walking around amongst like normal people kind of being there.
Yeah.
Street vendors. So they mentioned you'd be able to like go and get a glass of blue milk or just get some kind of meat concoction bowl. And they showed some concept art of one place that had like a fire pit, but the heat source was a pod racer engine that was hanging from the ceiling,
Yeah,
and
it's-
blasting down,
it's pretty cool.
heating up the food.
yeah.
So they were talking about, so it's going to be this whole immersive land in this place that you've never seen before.
Right, and there's going to be events that happen while you're there that you can choose to participate in, like
Yes.
shows and things that happen.
There's going to be like random street performances that'll happen
Around
like
you.
They showed a clip of like a practice session of like someone with like a broom, like
Yeah.
fighting three first order stormtroopers.
yeah.
And the person that the Imagineer in charge of live action was talking about them using ladders and rooftops.
Yeah, so
Like stuff's just going to happen. Like you're going to be in a world and stuff is just going to be happening around you
Right.
that is Star Wars.
right.
And it's not going to be like, well, at 5 o'clock is the stormtrooper show in the middle of the street.
The stormtroopers are going
It's
to
just
walk
going to be
out
like,
and
it's just going to be like you are on this planet, and
things are going to be
you are
happening around
you are in
and-
Star Wars, and Star Wars is happening while you're there.
Right. So speaking of you being involved in things, do you want to?
Say more.
So I have always, as soon as this was announced, I have said, and I tweeted this the day of, all I want is a walk-on Falcon set. If I get that, I will be completely
Yes.
satisfied. So Not only are we getting a walk-on Falcon set, we are getting you and a group of people,
Flight crew, they call
flight crew, can get on the
it. It
Falcon.
looked like 4 people from the shot. The very quick clip they showed.
Yeah, whether it ends up being 4 people or whatever, 4 seems to be right. But you and a group of people can get on the Falcon and pilot the Falcon.
The Falcon ride is you and a flight crew piloting the Falcon.
All co-pilots, basically. Or, you all...
Have
so
a
it's,
job.
It's going to be like basically Mission Space, but with the Falcon.
Yeah, if you've never been to Epcot at Disney World, Mission Space is a ride where it's simulated. It's a simulated shuttle takeoff where it actually has the G-force of a shuttle takeoff. Well,
but it's
probably toned down a little bit.
It's a 4-seater thing, and you all have different roles, quote unquote.
Where you're like, oh, you're the captain. You have to press this button to make the thing happen. And if you don't press it, they're like, oh, we're overriding it, so it's happening anyways.
Right. So there's not a whole lot of choice, but it's kind of cool to have a role.
In that ride, there's not a lot of choice.
Yes. But in this ride, apparently, you can make choices. And
so he mentioned specifically you can fly clean or you can crash into like rocks and stuff like that, and that will affect the outcome at the end of the ride, whether your ship is like banged up or not.
Yes,
but aside from the ride,
there are certain parameters that you can be within. Like you can fly super clean, or like you're saying, you can
mess
bang
stuff up.
Right. You'll probably, what he said, being fun or whatever, you'll probably end up at your destination. But the choices that you make on the ride apparently will go with you the rest of the day that you're at the park.
Yes, he said the actions from the ride may follow you around after. So like something you might destroy in the ride would affect something happening to you later in that day in Star Wars World.
Right. So whether that means...
maybe you piss somebody off, or maybe, you...
He was very careful to say, maybe you'll piss off a familiar face or something like that. So like... what if Chewie finds out you knocked off the radar dish again, or you know, something like that.
And along with that, they mentioned like, there's the Force Awakens, there's First Order things have presence there. So if you want to join in on First Order things, you can go do that. There's a Resistance presence there. If you want to join in on Resistance things, you can do that. There's an Underworld with bounty hunters, and if you want to join in on, you can do that. Yeah. Everything they were talking about sounded like an alternate reality RPG.
Yes.
Like Star Wars LARPing, like for real.
Right.
And if you've not been to Disney, they have magic bands which have RF tracking in them. And it sounds like they're going to be doing a lot of RF tracking to make things happen for you and around you while you're there.
Yeah.
So like currently they're using the magic bands, which is your pass to get into Disney. But a lot of times it also tracks, like when you ride a ride and the ride takes your photo, it automatically puts it on your magic band account because it recognizes your RFID when you get in and off.
Right.
So it sounds like they're going to be doing even more with that with this world.
It sounds insane.
And then
they were very clear about the fact that your actions, whatever they may be, on a ride, in a show, whatever it is, will have consequences. And will, they were kind of clear about, I think they were clear about this, that it would affect returning visits too. Like you can basically almost I think they even said that.
You build a reputation.
You could build a reputation. So whether that's for your single visit or, for future visits.
Which they have light versions of it now. They have that like magic card game thing you can do around the park.
Yeah.
Where you kind of build a level base for your little characters on your card.
Yeah.
It's also like an AR RPG type thing.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that again times 10.
It sounds crazy.
Which we could go for another hour on. Supposedly there's a Star Wars resort in the works as well, but that's a whole nother episode.
That was just announced today.
I've got a whole thing I need to talk about that on another episode. But just to end up that Star Wars Disney panel, the moderator, was it Dave Collins?
Yeah.
At the end, he said, talking to the crowd, he said, we've all seen really good lightsabers. He's like, we have great replica lightsabers and lightsabers like this. He said, but because one of the guys, I think it was Doug Chang, mentioned that, and of course we'll have lightsabers. And then Dave was like, well, guys, we've all seen lightsabers. We've seen the toy lightsabers and the cool lightsabers and effects lightsabers. He's like, but I can now say I have seen a real lightsaber.
And that completely...
Everyone's brain just like broke. I don't know what that means, and it hurts me not to be able to understand what can be different than a Force Effects lightsaber.
Are you actually saying that
there's no way they're containing lasers or light into a beam?
Are you saying that Disney has invented an igniting lightsaber?
Like not a blade that's already out, like something actually extends from a hilt and ignites with light and doesn't look fake. How?
Please be clear.
How is that possible?
Please be clear about what you're saying here.
So yeah, he said that, and every morning I wake up since he said that, I think about it. I go to bed thinking about it. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of how anything can be like a real lightsaber without it actually being a real lightsaber, and I can't come up with anything, and it hurts my brain. But it's going to be 2 more years until Star Wars World comes out, and I'm going to die before then. I'm going to be dead, and I'll never know. I don't know how it'll happen. Ugh, stupid Dave Collins. Anyways, wrapping up Star Wars Celebration, Day 4 was the Mark Hamill panel. Hamill himself, not a lot happened on Day 4, and just some cool things that happened during that panel was him kind of debunking long-running rumors, like the fact that in A New Hope, when he gets off of his X-Wing and he gets down, and everyone, since I was a child, everyone thought he said, Carrie! But apparently he said, there she! As in, there she is.
And he said, during that, he said, I don't know what you guys think of my acting skills, but I'm not such a bad actor that I would forget
he was like 19.
the character.
I would have, I would give him that.
He also said another rumor or a myth that's been going around for a while is that he held his breath in the trash compactor so long that he popped a blood vessel.
Oh.
Do you remember that myth? It's kind of,
remember that part.
He talked about it earlier, but there was a myth that had been going around for a long time, and I remember hearing this a long time ago, that he thought the story was that in order for him to make it look like he was actually underwater that whole time, he thought he would just hold his breath.
Okay.
This whole shot, and in doing so, almost drowned himself, and he burst a blood vessel because of it.
That was the rumor for a long time.
That was the rumor.
Yeah.
He said that no, he wasn't holding his breath the whole time. He did actually burst a blood vessel, but it was because he tried to work up all the blood into his face to make it look like he was drowning. So he was like pushing. Yeah. And he did it so much that he burst a blood vessel in his face. And he said that George came up to him later and said, well, why did you do that? And he said, well, I don't know. I thought it would be, like really real to make my face all red and all that. And George said, well, we've got, red filters on the camera. So you don't have to, there's lighting and stuff, and you don't have to do that. That was really dumb.
That's amazing.
So that myth.
That's awesome.
It was false.
I haven't watched that whole panel. I need to watch that as well.
It was really good.
And that was really everything that happened at Celebration.
There were some other smaller panels.
Yeah, there's some smaller panels, here and there, but like a lot as far as new announcements and things that are awesome to hear. That's really a lot of it. I'm gonna just be painting my brain over the lightsaber.
Painting your brain?
It's gonna be pained. It doesn't even work anymore. I can't even talk because it's pain. How?
How?
Yeah. So for me, coming out of Celebration, obviously my favorite things were the Last Jedi trailer, followed by the Phasma novel.
Yeah.
Followed by real lightsaber somehow in the world. And I can't. It hurts. What was your favorite, Michael?
I really enjoyed the Cantina panel there was a panel that Pablo and another guy, a guy who does special effects, were on, where they were talking about the Cantina scene in A New Hope, and just going in a lot of depth about that. Like actors identifying every human in every shot.
And items in the shot. And it was amazing to find out there are actors in that scene and things that they still don't know what they are or who they were.
They were pointing out props and things in the background that they had no idea what they were or where they were.
Yeah, like in preparing for the panel, like they said they found more stuff that they wanted to talk about.
Yeah, Pablo was saying as many times as he's watched the Cantina scene, in preparing for this panel, he saw things that he still hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Just little...
It was really cool. Just saying that apparently they're still trying to like track down everything from that original scene.
Yeah.
and they don't even know what all of it was or who everyone was. They
I
still
mean-
have a few they still have, like, what was it, like 5 actors that they have no idea who those characters were.
Yeah.
Because they were in alien costumes.
Right. Because they can't find any footage of them from different angles or anything like that. But they kept saying, you know, they said it, and then they showed some interviews from people who worked on the scene, you know, way back when. They were also saying, like, you know, kept saying over and over again, nobody expected this movie to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
they didn't, like, keep track of anything.
they didn't keep track of anything. A lot of things were lost or destroyed, you know, afterwards, after filming. It's just, and they were showing some behind the scenes stuff, and it's just so crappy. Like, everything was so crappy.
It was like the booth shot, like in any booth shots, they only had one booth.
It was just the
And
booth.
It was like, yeah. And so any booth shot is that same booth just shot again from, you know, the same angle, basically.
yeah,
That was a really cool panel.
Stuff like that. And then, that Disney Parks panel, just all the stuff, just thinking about being there.
Yeah. 2 more years.
Ugh.
2019.
Jeez.
Yep.
Did we say that they're going to have a bunch of life-size walkers?
Oh, yeah. There's
There?
going to be, like, multiple life-size walkers, apparently. Like, true to, like, 1-for-1, like, true-size walkers.
Ugh.
Which, that's big. That's real big.
Literally.
Yeah. That's crazy. They have, like, the frames up for 2 of them now that they showed.
I don't know what to say anymore.
No.
I mean,
I'm so excited about the Disney thing. Just because it's so far off, too.
Ugh.
But yeah, we have more to talk about. You know, there was a Disney resort that was some surveys were leaked about today that I have a lot to talk about because that sounds amazing.
yeah.
We're going to, on our actual regular episode, we're going to be talking about The Last Jedi. We might get into that resort thing as well. But in the meantime, you know, you can hit us up on Twitter at Hokey_religion. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/HokeyReligion. If you enjoy the show and want to support us and help make it better, you can go to patreon.com/HokeyReligion. You can email us at asklobot@HokeyReligion.com.
Send us questions on Twitter or over email.
Yes,
Either
questions,
one.
comments, staplers, I don't know, whatever you want to send us.
Pictures of your shorts.
YouTube shorts. All right, that's all I have. But leading up to our next regular episode, we're going to play a clip that we recorded live at Celebration right after we saw the Star Wars Celebration or Star Wars: The Last Jedi panel. We're going to play this clip and hopefully get you excited for our next episode. So thank
you can hear our voices. They are very
excited.
very excited, very like
Yes.
frazzled. It
Well,
was
thanks
great.
for listening. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Goodbye. All right, Michael, we just saw The Last Jedi panel with the trailer
Twice.
They showed the trailer twice.
We saw.
And we got the free, sweet, awesome poster.
We just saw The Last Jedi trailer twice.
Finally.
With everyone else at the same time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was so awesome. And they actually released it to the public too, which everyone now knows, but
Same time.
that was
yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
There are a lot of things happening in that trailer
First
that
of all-
confirms a lot of our theories.
Exactly. Let's talk about how spot on we were about the Jedi and how the Jedi are ending. They're going
Well,
away.
Luke said the Jedi need to end,
Need to end.
which is
Yeah.
exactly what we've been saying
Right.
this whole time,
Yes.
which is perfect.
The Jedi are useless at this point, basically. The Jedi need to...
Yes, they need to change. They need to be something else that's not Jedi like we've been talking about.
Right.
So yeah, we're at Celebration right now, and it's just directly after the panel, so emotions are high.
Brains are frazzled. Been up since 4 a.m.
Another theory that seems confirmed was Rey saying that she was, expecting what she's going to be. She had an expectation of what she would get from Luke, and
Which is
that,
exactly what we were saying.
and that she said, sometimes when you meet your heroes, you're disappointed, or they're
Right.
not what you expect.
So Rey shows up expecting...
And Luke wants nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
And doesn't want the Jedi, and probably doesn't even want to teach her at this point
Exactly.
because he thinks the Jedi need to be done, and he doesn't want to teach anybody anything, probably.
Right.
Right?
But she shows up expecting to be taught how to control this new power that she doesn't know anything about.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what's going on or, how to do anything with it.
It's super awesome. More theories to come. So Kelly Marie Tran.
Her character is Rose.
Rose.
A maintenance worker.
A maintenance
apparently.
worker, not anybody special that we thought she was. Ryan Johnson said that she's a nobody. Like a nobody that gets pulled into something bigger than herself.
Right. And then
everybody else.
Right. He used the comparison to Luke, how Luke got kind of pulled.
Yes, he said
as a nobody
like
into
Luke
this,
from A New Hope.
Yeah, into this thing that's bigger than him.
So how she ends up with Finn doing anything on a Star Destroyer or any sort of mission.
Right.
Maybe she has not maintenance knowledge. She knows where the trash cans are. I was talking about this a while ago.
Finn at this point he's basically a nobody.
Well, he was a maintenance worker too before on Starkiller. So does he get shoved into maintenance and then he becomes friends with her? And
they're sending 2 janitors into. This is their backdoor entrance.
Yeah.
Get it? Because of toilets.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that one.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
They're sending 2 nobodies. Well, so Finn is a nobody at this point.
Yep.
To everyone here, right? I mean, he served his purpose.
Yeah.
He helped them destroy Starkiller. I mean, what's he doing now?
Well, John Boyega says
dead, practically dead.
John Boyega said, he goes through and gets better and everything, and then that he's trying to find his purpose, like we've been talking about, trying to find where he belongs.
Right.
Where he belongs, he mentioned whether his place is to continue running from the First Order or to join the Resistance.
Right.
So what he does with that and how he ends up with Kelly Marie Tran on a Star Destroyer doing anything important, blowing things up, is very interesting. I have nowhere to go with that one yet.
Yeah. I mean, now that they confirm that she's a nobody, there's really nothing we can do to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Like, how do they end up? And she's, I think we said already, she's with the Resistance. She's a maintenance worker.
Yeah, she's a maintenance worker with the Resistance.
So she's on whatever. What's the planet? Already forgetting things.
Are they? We don't know where they are at this point because everyone knows where they are now. But are they still on that planet?
Oh, maybe not.
That's what I don't know.
The behind-the-scenes shots that they showed a few that Ryan took.
Yeah.
During the panel, and the base does look different.
It does look a little different, so I'm assuming they're somewhere else.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. So, there's no way to connect those dots.
Not yet. No. So many good shots in that trailer. Rey swinging a lightsaber around, floating some pebbles.
With
Luke watching,
distance watching,
almost
her.
Angrily. Like, I guess she's doing this.
The trailer opened up with Luke saying, "Breathe, breathe,
breathe." Yeah.
And
he's talking to himself.
Well, yeah.
All right, we're doing this. All right, breathe. Okay, we can do this.
He was like talking to us sitting there watching the trailer. Just breathe. It'll be all right.
Just breathe. Yeah. Man. It was interesting that it was very Rey-centric trailer.
So here's grasping at straws. I like how confident he seemed. Like this was at this point.
Confident Luke seemed?
Yeah. Like at this point, Luke has trained at least one other person.
At least.
Ben.
So it's failing miserably, but yeah.
The sense that I got from his voice was a kind of a...
I've been here. Okay. I know where I went wrong.
I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Just calm down. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's done this before himself.
Yes.
He's trained other people to control his power.
Yeah.
And now it's just like him repeating
That's true.
himself almost.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyway,
all right.
Just impressions, really. Nothing.
Yeah, just impressions.
Nothing concrete.
Our hard-hitting trailer response recording.
Hard-hitting. Hot takes.
Hot takes.
Religion, hot takes.
Hokey religion hot takes. Well, I've got to go breathe some more after all of that.
So we should probably shut
Everyone's
this down.
staring at us, yeah. Well, we look important, but we're standing in a corner. So we don't look important.
Access door.
Yeah, of course.
For something.
All right. We will have more fun later.
This has been Hokey Religion. I'm Michael.
I'm Tyler.
See ya in a little bit.
Goodbye.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons. Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side.
Started banging in on stopping.
Right.
They were so repressed. They were so repressed that just 6 kids at once.